Commissioners meeting for Tuesday, May 27, 2025. I am Chair Rick. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Clerk.
Copy of the Nebraska Open Meetings Act is located at the wall of the rear of the hearing room. All written materials to be discussed at today's meeting can be viewed at the county's website at lancaster.ne.gov. Printing options are available upon request. Brings us to item 1, minutes. Approval of the minutes of the Board of Commissioners meeting held on May 20th, 2025.
Move approval.
I will second. Please call the roll.
Yocum,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Vest.
Yes.
Motion carries. Item 2, claims. 2A, approval of the claims processed through May 23rd, 2025.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion and second to approve the claims. Item 2A, please call the roll.
Yocum,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Vest.
Yes.
Motion carries. 2B, approval of the claims, including billings for goods and services beyond the 90-day time period provided in Nebraska Revised Statute 23-135. They are for the City of Lincoln Information Services, dated May 26, 2025, for a total of $2,565.50. Midwest Venetian Blind / Havelock Aluminum, dated May 26, 2025, for a total of $587. And Verizon Wireless VSAT North, dated May 26, 2025, for a total of $425.
I move approval of these claims.
Second.
Motion second to approve item 2B. Please call the roll.
Johnson,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest.
Yes.
Motion carries. Item 3 is our consent items. These are routine business items that are expected to be adopted without dissent. Any individual item may be removed for special discussion and consideration by a commissioner and any member of the public without prior notice. Unless there is an exception, these items will be approved as one single vote of the Board of Commissioners. These items are the approval of A, amendments to the following county contracts: C-23-0613 with Sapp Brothers Incorporated for the annual supply of antifreeze coolants and windshield wiper fluid. Cost of the county shall not exceed $40,000. C-24-0919 with Kidwell Incorporated for the annual services for removal of an existing analog camera and replacing with new digital camera. C-24-0918 with Kidwell Incorporated for the annual service of replacing existing coax cables with Cat6 cables. C-21-0380 with Keefe Commissary Network for County Corrections Commissary Services. C-23-0525 with Eleanor Creative LLC to implement marketing and hiring campaigns for the Department of Corrections. B, right-of-way contracts with the following: the City of Lincoln, Alva Road, North 98th Street in the amount of $352. Retzlaff Generation Skipping Residuary Trust, 138th Street and Van Doren Street in the total amount of $547. And C, grant contracts with the following: the Cedars Youth Services for Emergency Shelter Program in the amount of $325,145.25, and the Community Action Partnership of Lancaster and Saunders Counties for Basic and Emergency Needs Program in the amount of $155,250.
Move approval of the consent items.
Second.
Motion and second to approve the consent items. Please call the roll.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Vest.
Yes.
Motion carries. Brings us to item 4, new business. Item 4A, resolution in the matter of approving a Keno satellite location at APNJ LLC, doing business as Kramer Bar and Grill, 11365 West Kramer Street, Crete, Lancaster County, Nebraska.
Is there anyone here wishing to speak on this item?
Good morning. I'm Melody with Big Red Keno at 11248 John Galt Boulevard, Omaha, and I'm happy to answer any questions on the Keno satellite for the Kramer location.
Is this a new location? Or?
It's an existing location going through an ownership change.
Yeah, we're just always a little curious why these come in front of us. So the owners of Kramer Bar and Grill has changed hands, and you'll still be doing business as Big Red Keno with the new owners.
That's correct.
Okay. Big Red Keno's been around for a while. You evidently know how to do it.
I'm very excited. I've been working with the city of Lincoln, and the county of Lancaster actually used some of the community betterment funds in 2024. So I'll be sharing that with you real soon.
We'll be anxious to know. I move approval.
Second.
Motion second to approve. Thank you for
Thank you.
being here. Please call the roll.
Yocum,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Best.
Yes.
Motion carries. 4B, a special designated license application from Myers Cork and Bottle for an event at Wisecamp Barn on July 26, 2025.
Anyone here to speak on this one? Very good. I'd entertain
It's
a
like
motion.
the application is complete. I move approval.
Second.
Motion second to approve. Please call the roll.
Yocum,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Vest.
Yes.
Motion carries. Item 4C, agreement with the Schemmer Associates Incorporated to provide on-call general engineering and architectural services at the request of the county engineer. The total cost of the county shall not exceed $25,000.
Pam Dingman, Lancaster County Engineer. We keep these on-call contracts for when we have emergencies and we need expertise that are outside of what we have in-house, or when our workload exceeds what we can get done quickly. So in this case, I'm recommending that we go ahead and grant this on-call to Schemmer Associates.
I move approval.
Second.
Motion second to approve. Please call the roll.
Johnson,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest.
Yes.
Motion carries. 4D, a contract with the United States Department of Agriculture, USDA, Animal Plant and Health Inspection Service to coordinate and conduct an integrated wildlife damage management program to mitigate conflicts created by wildlife in the county who pose a risk to human health, safety, and damage property. The cost of the county is $11,785.85.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion second to approve. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Vest.
Yes.
Motion carries. 4E, agreement with the Mental Health Association of Nebraska to provide a wellness recovery action plan and helping men recover classes to inmates at the County Department of Corrections. The cost to the county is not to exceed $16,640.
I move approval.
Second.
Motion second to approve. Please call the roll.
Yocum,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Vest.
Yes.
Motion carries. 4F, contract with Allen Gibbs and Holick LC for annual audit services. The cost of the county shall not exceed $393,700.
Okay, Dennis Meyer, Lancaster County Budget and Fiscal Officer. This contract here is setting us up for the next 3-year period for audit services. We're going to use, I'll refer to them as AGH. That will be for our Public Building Commission audit, our Correctional Facility Joint Public Agency audit, as well as Lancaster County. So it's those 3 audits for the next 3 years. AGH was part of our audit probably 6 years ago, and now they're coming back on board for us.
What's the cost relative to what we have been paying, Dennis?
It's a slight increase, but it's not much. It's not much, and that's why we went out for RFP to kind of see what we could get for the best result. So it is tweaked. I'd say it's probably a 2% increase. So it's nothing that's really out of the ordinary.
Very good. I would entertain a motion.
I'll move approval.
Second.
Motion and second to approve. Please call the roll.
Yocum,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Vest.
Yes.
Motion carries. 4G, contract with Judd's Brothers Construction Company for wash bay repair for the county. The cost of the county shall not exceed $46,565.
Lancaster County Engineer Pam Dingman. This is to repair the wash bay in the shop. As you may recall, in that facility study, it was recommended that we not have anybody in the wash bay if the wind was more than 25 miles an hour, which has happened a lot since that study was issued. It's not awesome for running our operation. So this is to shore up that end of the building. It's not what I would call a long-term fix, but a fix that will get us through the next decade.
I move approval.
Second. Motion and second to approve. Please call the roll.
Johnson,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest.
Yes.
Motion carries. 4H, memorandum of understanding with Lynn Pepco for full-service beverage and snack vending services.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion second to approve, not to throw our friends at Lynn PepsiCo under the bus, but what's the chances of getting Diet Coke included in this contract?
Well, I think the Pepco is the part that you're gonna,
That
Run
could
it.
be complicated, I
Yeah.
guess. Yeah, well, we will soldier forward. Please call the roll.
Flowerday,
yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Vest.
Yes.
Motion carries. Brings us to item 5, which is our legislative update.
I haven't heard anything in the last week.
No, I mean, I think the only excitement was the vetoes or lack thereof, which, given our, I mean, it was the court's funding and public health funding, and so I think we're spot now, so.
Very good, we'll move forward.
Item 6, public comment. Members of the public wishing to speak in items related to county business not on the agenda may do so at this time.
Any members of the public wishing to speak? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk.
Item 7, announcements. Lancaster County Board of Commissioners will hold a staff meeting, including budget hearings, on Thursday, May 29th at 8:30 a.m. in room 112 of the County City Building. The Lancaster County Board of Commissioners will hold the following meetings and public hearings on Tuesday, June 3rd at 9 a.m. in room 112 of the County City Building. The Board of Commissioners regular meeting, a Board of Equalization meeting, and department budget hearings. County Commissioners can be reached at 402-441-7447 or commish@lancaster.ne.gov. Lancaster County Board of Commissioners meeting is broadcast live on LNK TV. LNK TV is available on Allo Channel 2 and Spectrum Channel 1300. For the rebroadcast schedule, visit lincoln.ne.gov. Meetings are also streamed live on YouTube and Facebook. LNK TV apps are available on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire TV. And item 8 is adjournment.
I move we adjourn.
Second.
Motion second to adjourn. Please call the roll.
Yocum,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Vest.
Yes.
Motion carries.
We are adjourned. We'll now open the Lancaster County Board of Equalization meeting for Tuesday, May 27th, 2025. Do you want to do this, Matt, or do I? I think you're here, you do it.
Happy to. Copy of the Nebraska Open Meetings Act is located at the wall of the rear of the hearing room. All written materials to be discussed at today's meeting can be viewed at the county's website at lancaster.ne.gov. Printing options available upon request. Which brings us to item 1, minutes. Approval of the minutes of the Board of Equalization meeting held on Tuesday, May 20th, 2025.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion second to approve. Please call the roll.
Yocum,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Vest.
Yes.
Motion carries. That returns us to our public hearings, the 2025-451 exemption applications recessed from last week.
We will now reopen the public hearing and our friend from the assessor's office. So we may need to start back at the beginning here since we
Okay.
had 2 commissioners not present. So
Not
let's
a
just
problem.
kind of go through it. like we did last week. if
Yes,
you
sir.
would.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do. All right. Jacob Van Pelt, Assessor's Office. So we'll kind of start back over from where we were last week. There are 16 applications. The first 9 we are recommending approval for, and those include 3 separate from Bryan Medical, the Children's Hospital and Medical Center, IAFF Local 644, the Mental Health Association of Nebraska, Nebraska Wesleyan University, and 2 for the Wachiska Audubon Society, which then brings us to the 1, 2, 3. There are 4 that we are recommending a partial approval on. And as we noted last week on those, the first one is 12 Rocks. So that is the church on 2601 North 11th Street. There's the parcel has 2 commercial strips as well as a grocery store on there. The grocery store is being made into a church, and a portion of each of the commercial strips is being used for church purposes, with the remainder being leased out. So we are recommending approval or a partial exemption on everything that is not being leased out on that one. Would you like the specific percentages again? Or?
Commissioners, do you want that?
Okay. So that one on partial for everything used by the church, approval on that, everything leased out. The next one is Bryan Medical Center. I guess I can. On that one, same idea on that. Bryan is using 92.34% of that building. The remaining percentage is being leased out. So we are recommending exemption for the portion that is being used by Bryan, and then taxing the portion being leased out. Okay, any questions on that one? Next one down, we have the Islamic Foundation of Lincoln. So on this one, this is a portion of land here that I believe that you'll have the aerial of it to where there's 2 sections of land. One has a house, a dilapidated house, as well as a garage, and then the rear section of the land is being used for overflow parking. They've put white rock down, and they currently use it to, when I was there last, they had buses on there, and then obviously for overflow parking. We are recommending approval on the parking portion, because that is being used by the church. The vacant house, at some point, I would assume will be removed, but at this point it has not, and we have not been given any plans to indicate what they want to do with that section. But the house and the garage are not being used for religious purposes at this time. Questions on that one? Okay. The next one down, also the Islamic Foundation of Lincoln. So on this one, that is a site that they are using for a portion of the site that they are using for a cemetery. So we are recommending approval on the specific portion that is being used for the cemetery, and then the excess land that appears to be used for farming purposes. Okay, any questions on that one? And
I do have a question
Yeah.
on that one. So the parking is exempt, that we're not, the cemetery itself
correct?
would be tax exempt, but not the,
Yeah,
but not the
I'm sorry.
parking?
Yeah, the parking, as well as there's an outbuilding as well that they
Okay.
use for cemetery operations. So if you look at the GIS map of it, I believe it's 6.29 acres that we have cordoned off that are actually being used for the cemetery and then the cemetery operations, which
Right.
include there's a walkway and so everything that's not being used for ag purposes. Okay, and then one other that came in question the last time that I guess I failed to list is the Millard United Sports. So that's a personal property application that we had discussion on. On that one initially, we had recommended denial. After some conversations and looking closer at the statute, we are going to recommend approval on the Millard United Sports as well. So that one, I guess, did not get switched on my list here, so I apologize, going out of order. So then the next, I guess 4 of the 5 that we're recommending denial on have the same idea behind them, is that they were vacant lots. And with those, let me go through each item. So the first one is the Duncan Hilltop Foundation. So what that one was a dilapidated house that, as of May the 10th, they took a demolition permit, and the house is now gone. But at the last time of inspection, it was just, I guess, a hole in the ground at this point. So it did not appear that that was being used for any exempt purpose at that time for the Duncan Hilltop Foundation. The next one is Fresh Start. Same idea there. Fresh Start purchased the adjacent parcel next to their currently exempt, their exempt building. That one was a dilapidated house. They have since removed the house. On that one, the house was removed on April the 10th. That one, through discussion, we had determined, or the board had determined that one was being used for an exempt purpose at this time. They have a small driveway that they use for parking, and I believe they said they're using it for some recreational services for the adjacent exempt.
And gardening.
And yeah.
It's kind of a green space
Yeah,
for the
so that's-
residents of Fresh Start, so.
Yeah, so that one we had kind of changed our thinking on. The next one down here is the Islamic Foundation of Lincoln. And I had submitted some GIS photos of what that is, and that is just a plot of land that has never had a building permit. There's no improvements on it. It is kind of landlocked between, there's houses kind of surrounding there. At this point, there is no religious use on that, and there have been no plans or no discussion of what they are planning on using that for a religious purpose for. Then the next one after the Millard United Sports, the next one down is the Nebraska Cattlemen. On that one, we had recommended denial due to, cite you the exact statute on it. That one was Nebraska Administrative Code Title 350, Chapter 40, and then this section 004.03A, which said the Agricultural and Horticultural Society does not include an association which devotes a substantial part of its activities to attempting to influence legislation, or which provides money or services or endorsements to influence any political campaign for public office. On that one, we had recommended denial because of that.
Have they gotten it before?
No, this was their first application here. It's a newer building.
Yeah, no, I know where the
Oh, sorry.
building's at. No, you're good, yeah. I would have been surprised if they had been receiving it before.
And the board had asked me to ask around and contact to see how other counties did. I had called Hall County, Douglas, RP, Lincoln County. None of them have an exemption application for the Nebraska Cattlemen. So I attempted to see how other counties handled it. However, none of them at this point had received an application by them. Okay. And then the final one I had on the list here was the Newman Center, which is there on campus. That one had a dilapidated building on there that was demolished back on May 10th, 2024. So it has been sitting vacant for some time. And again, with the same idea of the vacant land on Nebraska Administrative Code, Title 350, Chapter 40, 005.04, where it discusses vacant land, and it says that a qualifying organization buys a vacant lot for future use as a building site. However, the land is being held idle for several years. No exemption is allowed for the tax years during which the vacant land sits idle, because it is not being used for an exempt purpose. So, the same idea on that one as the other vacant lots. So I believe that covers all of them.
So you are recommending then that Fresh Start and Millard United Sports move from the denial list to the approval list?
Yes.
And the others stay the same as they were?
And what about that Union Hall? Didn't we do that last year?
I'm sorry?
The Union Hall, didn't we do that one last year and give them the educational one?
It's on the
on the
approved list.
It's on the approved list. I just misheard
Okay.
you. I
Sorry.
misheard you, sorry. Great. I was gonna say, like,
Yeah,
didn't
we worked through
Yeah,
that last year. 'Cause,
we did that whole thing last year,
Right.
so, okay.
yeah, it's on the approval list, so. So the list is attached to the
Yeah.
agenda, and any further questions for Jacob?
Did the Cattlemen Association, reach out or have any commentary after the last meeting?
No, there was no additional conversation with them.
For what it's worth with the Cattlemen Association on their 2020 990, which was the most recent one I could find both or all of the information for, they had about 88,000 of lobbying expenditures out of a total budget of 2.2 million for expenses. So I don't know what qualifies as substantial, but I thought that might be relevant to bring up. Because we did have a decent amount of conversation last week about whether they should also receive an exemption.
What was their argument?
They weren't here.
Well, what's it on their application? Do you remember, Jacob, what they were
I
saying
can,
in here?
if you bear with me 1 second, I will find it. On their application, it just says the Nebraska Cattlemen's mission is to work on behalf of beef producers from pasture to plate. We are a grassroots membership organization who work with all sectors of the beef industry to connect each section or each sector to the next. The primary use of the building is the home of the Nebraska Cattlemen's staff. We host board meetings and ag interest meetings in the building as well.
What's the language? Does it say substantial or majority?
It says substantial. It does not, well,
Thank God
So-
the law's written clearly.
so yeah, so, yeah, so an agricultural or horticultural society does not include an association which devotes a substantial part of its activity to attempting to influence legislation or which provides money, services, or endorsements to influence any political campaign for public office. So that's where we had
Is
the,
it the foundation that's applying, or is it?
Who's the foundation? Because there's no way the foundation's doing lobbying.
Right.
Right.
yeah,
It
that,
doesn't say
Nebraska
foundation.
Cattlemen,
yeah.
doesn't distinguish.
Probably isn't the foundation that owns the building. I don't know.
And it's any amount spent for candidates?
Yeah, that one does not have substantial in it. It says, or which provides money, services, or endorsements. So that section did not have substantial.
Gotcha. All right, thank you.
Okay. So, just going over it one more time then, being clear, so everybody knows. We are recommending approval of Bryan Medical Center, the first item, first parcel, recommending approval of Bryan Medical Center and Bryan Medical Center, those three parcels. Children's Hospital and Medical Center, IAFF Local 644. Mental Health Association of Nebraska, Nebraska Wesleyan University, Washishka Audubon Society, 2 parcels are all recommended for approval, as well as Fresh Start and Millard United Sports are all recommended for approval. And then we have the 4 that are recommended for a portion: 12 Rocks LLC, Bryan Medical Center, Islamic Foundation of Lincoln, those 2 parcels. And then we have 4 that are recommended for denial at this time: Duncan Hilltop Foundation, Islamic Foundation of Lincoln, that parcel, Nebraska Cattlemen, and the Newman Center are recommended for denial.
What's the Duncan Hilltop one? I'm sorry, I just don't know that one.
What is it?
That was the building. There had been a house there.
What-
The Duncan Hilltop one, I'm just not familiar.
Yes, yeah, so there was a dilapidated house, and the parcel that was in disrepair, the house has now been removed on that one, so that just happened in the last 3 weeks.
There's no other building permits or no other
No.
sign?
Not at this point.
Okay.
Any other questions for Jake? Thank you, Jacob. Any other members of the public wishing to speak on this item?
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Monica Zinke with Fresh Start, and I spoke last time, and I'm thankful that it's still on the approved list, but I thought I'd come up in case there were any additional questions about the use of our space.
Well, why don't you just, since you're here, why don't you just tell the commissioners what you told us last week about how you are using it for the work of Fresh Start?
Sure. Well, Fresh Start, as I think you all know, is a transitional shelter for women experiencing homelessness. We had the unexpected opportunity to buy the lot immediately adjacent to us with the idea of rehabbing the house. Unfortunately, that was not a viable option. So we took down the house, and then currently we're using it for additional green space. I liked that. That kind of encapsulates it. It's recreational space for the residents and for their guests, including their kids that visit. We've planted some garden space with things that we don't normally have space for, that vine. And then we're also using it, when it's not as muddy as it is right now, for additional parking for residents and staff to use that space, since it's currently empty. And examples of some of the recreational activities that we have planned, in addition to them just being able to use it, there's a gate where they can access it from our current property. We have working on an outdoor movie night this summer. We have a Fresh Start Field Day, we're calling it, where we're going to have like yard games and things that a church is working with us on, and just activities like that, so they have additional space. And so we're putting the land to use while we figure out the rest of the building plan, since this, like I said, was a very unexpected opportunity, so we didn't have a plan other than rehabbing the house initially. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Any other members of the public wishing to speak? Seeing none, we will close the public hearing.
Commissioners, that brings us to item 3, the public hearing action items. For 3A, the 2025-451 exemption applications, which are split into approval of a portion, and denial.
I have a question about process. So if any of these, can any of the folks who we are denying, like, reapply, and what's the timeline for that, and what happens to the folks who get denied?
Jacob, we may need you again.
With these, that they will have 30 days to protest to Turk, so yes,
Okay,
they do have an opportunity to protest.
And they'll
this.
get notified of the denial? Okay.
Yeah.
Because of her, and they can come back next year, or it's not.
Okay.
Correct.
All right, thank you.
Very good. So we need a motion for approval of a portion, or denial. I mean, we have three areas there.
I would move approval of the county assessor's recommendations for approval, approval of a portion, and denial of the 451.
I will second, and then just clarifying question as read by Rick Vest, because what he read into the record is different than what the assessor gave us on the handout.
Basically, the handout, which was attached to the agenda, 2 items were moved from denial to approval.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it stayed the same.
But it's still consistent with the assessor's recommendation.
It is.
Okay.
The handout might be different, but their
Right.
recommendation was pretty clear, I thought.
Yes,
So,
Okay.
Yes.
agreed.
given the recommendation we were given in this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the handout did not get modified based on their change in position on 2 denials, 2 approvals. So is that clear enough? We good? Fresh Start and Millard
United Sports.
United Sports moved to the approval list.
Great.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Please call the roll.
Yocum,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Vest.
Yes.
Motion carries. Next item is public comment. Members of the public wishing to speak in County Board of Equalization items may do so at this time.
Any members of the public wishing to comment on items related to the Board of Equalization? Seeing none, we'll move forward.
Last item I have is adjournment.
Move we adjourn?
Second?
Motion and second to adjourn. Please call the roll.
Johnson,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest.
Yes, we are adjourned.